Hi, this is Neil, and I'm partnering with the great HPC today to bring you the Surfactant Insights Podcast. Biomass balance. We've heard a lot about this recently, particularly since Shell jumped into the surfactant market with biomass balance neodols. But what is it and why is it so important? Green D Market Analytics, in their 2026 report titled Detailed Assessment of the Renewable Surfactants Market, defines biomass balance as follows. A chain of custody accounting framework that tracks how much certified renewable or recycled feedstock enters a production system and then assigns that same certified volume to selected outputs, even when the physical materials are mixed during processing. It permits co-processing of certified and non-certified inputs in the same equipment, if the amount of certified product claimed at the end never exceeds the certified feedstock introduced at the front. I think that's pretty good, right? Certainly better than the efforts I've made over recent years to explain what it is. I'm therefore going to continue to quote from and paraphrase this report extensively. And by the way, I will use the abbreviation BMB going forward. BMB feedstocks for surfactants today are renewable or circular substitutes for fossil-based naphtha and natural gas going into steam crackers and related types of units. In practice, that means bio-based naphtha and biomethane from vegetable oils, waste fats, tall oil, and other residues. It also means pyrolysis oils from plastic waste or other mixed waste streams, and increasingly renewable methanol and renewable energy derived inputs that allow part of the hydrocarbon slate to be attributed as non-fossil or bio-based under the certification schemes ISCC Plus or RED Cert. The selling point for BMB products has been that the molecules are exactly the same as the ones you know and love already. No product novelty, no reformulation, no relabeling. And yet you have the bio-basis now documented to count as part of any corporate commitments toward renewable content in your products. That, I think you have to admit, is pretty compelling, right? Here's a selection of companies and BMB products related to surfactants that are being offered today. This is by no means an exhaustive list. For that, you should ask Green D Market Analytics. There's the aforementioned Shell with BMB ethylene oxide, ethoxylates, and alpha olefins. BASF offers a vast range of BMB surfactants and intermediates. Dow has EO and derivatives. INEOS has EO and alpha olefins. Moive offers LAB and LAS. Unga Fabrica offers LAS based on the Moive LAB. Indovinya in Brazil offers EO and a range of EO derivatives. Sasol has a lot of offerings based on LAB and EO, and Eastman has BMB DMAPA, which of course, as you know, is used in betaine manufacture. So already you can see that it's possible to make a very wide range of surfactants and finished formulations based entirely or largely on BMB inputs. And we've seen this, for example, in recent announcements from BASF and Henkel. Since January of 22, these two companies have collaborated to put around 110,000 tons of BMB ingredients per year into Henkel's core European brands, including Somat, Pervol, Schaumer, Gliss, Sios, Far, and Persil. This 4-year program is expected to reduce around 200,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions. One thing to point out, as you might expect, the BMB option has so far generally proven more popular in Europe than in other parts of the world. Then there is the matter of cost. BMB products cost more than regular old petro-based products. What's the premium and is it worth it? Well, of course, the cost and the price premiums, those are two different things, remember, vary by company, product, and the source of renewable and circular inputs. However, some general points can be made as follows. Bio-based naphtha supply is tied to hydro-treated vegetable oil, sustainable aviation fuel, and renewable diesel capacity, and therefore competes with transport fuel use and its associated government mandates. Pyrolysis oil volumes depend on advanced recycling projects that are still ramping up and face their own regulatory scrutiny and capex bottlenecks. Furthermore, as again Green D points out, large chemical companies like Dow and BASF must now decide how to allocate scarce biocircular feedstock across polymers, aromatics, and surfactants, with polymers and packaging often commanding higher strategic priority because of plastic waste regulation. Nonetheless, BMB represents a readily available, millions of tons scale option for companies to attain bio-based status and reduced carbon footprint for mass market surfactants and consumer products. I therefore expect the concept will continue to receive considerable interest. I hope you found this useful, and thanks again, as always, for listening.